Welcome to Grover Load. Now, AMD has released the 9950X3D as well as the 9900X3D. We're going to focus on that $700 processor here that is the 9950X3D. The AMD came out and put them in the same prices as last generations X3D processors for this stack, which were really good. And I have been able to play with the 9800 X3D. My friend just got one. He upgraded his gaming rig, so I have a 7800 X3D here that I get to build with again. But the that 9800 X3D, that is a just a great gaming processor all around, and AMD has extended that. Now, if you're into gaming and that's all you're doing, that 9800 X3D is going to still be an amazing processor for you. And it's a pick that I would say, if that's your budget, your price range, that's the processor you'll be going for. But if you're someone that wants to do a little bit more, coding work, or development work, or artwork, or anything else there, outside of the normal gaming set of things, you using Adobe, etc., you might want to go and look at these 16 core processors. They get a little bit more performance outside in your productivity suite of things, and I'm not talking just Word, right? You can do that with, well, a lot less than even the 9800 X3D, but if you want the best of gaming and then also be able to have that productivity for whatever you do, this processor is great. I think, with Intel's last launch, their 285K, just not cutting it against the 9800 X3D in gaming. Take a look at this and just realize that the 9950 X3D is not going to be competing with that really either. Now, granted, there's maybe some niche case that 285K you may use it in, but for right now, I think going with that 9900X 9950X3D is going to be your best of both worlds if that's what you're looking for, especially if you're going to be using all 16 cores and those threads at the same time. That is something that you're going to want to do. So I was impressed with the reviews of where this went through. There was a lot of problems with that 7950X3D and being able to park the cores and everything else. While I still think that they need to improve upon that, I really hope that what AMD does, and hopefully works with Windows here, is kind of streamline that a little bit more and alleviate the problems that were there. Right now you don't need to, with AMD's new driver stuff, you don't need to do the updates. You don't need to go through and force a full reinstall of Windows. You install those drivers and you get the automatically switching the drivers will reinstall the stuff it needs to have the services to core park properly when you're playing games. I think that's a huge benefit that AMD finally figured out, which should have been there with the first generation, but there's growing pains, and hopefully AMD can only make it better. I think that two CCDs with the 3D cache would have been the ideal scenario. Granted, that would have probably costed a little bit more, but for me, I would have liked that benefit. I think then you would have started seeing some true benefits of these 3D caches being able to perform on these CCDs, just to seeing how much a full 16 core can stretch its legs with 3D cache would have been really interesting to see, even in some compile operations and some other productivity suites. Now I write software as well, so that's something I was interested in, as well as the creating videos and stuff like that. So with some of that performance there, right? And I also do some gaming. So what is it? I think this is going to be a perfect option for somebody like me, and I hope that I get to do a build around this, or even upgrade. Who knows what I'm going to kind of do. I have that 2970WX in this system. It's been working great, but at some point I do need to upgrade, and I don't have to. I like to upgrade, right? The machine's been working fine, but you kind of get the itch here and there of upgrade, get a video for you guys as well out. Be kind of fun. I give this computer to somebody as well, a friend or family member that needs it. That's kind of my thing, is somebody that needs a computer. They usually get something for me if I have a computer lying around. So that's kind of my thinking process. I mean, I want to try to build this 7800X3D here. I know it's in a 9,000 box, but this is because it's my friend's 9800X3D box that he was able to upgrade his computer with. And man, that thing flies. He likes it. There is a benefit. We were running some benchmarks and doing stuff. I wish I had some of those benchmarks there I was running at his place. But we're going through different games, we're running some benchmarks and seeing some things. We noticed that there's some things with the 7800 X3D where, kind of the first little bit, you kind of get some lower 1% lows out there and 0.1% lows, where you get a little bit of jerkiness in that those benchmarks are running the game. But the 9800 X3D didn't have any of that, and he was really pleased to see that as well, because no one likes to see that for the first little bit of a game, and then all of a sudden it smooths out, you never see it again. But there's these little things that we were able to go through and start testing. I want to do some more testing, and hopefully I can finally get a rig to do some testing and get some more data out there for you guys as well. So pretty exciting what AMD is able to accomplish here. Hopefully they kind of build off of it. Where these are sitting in between Windows 10 and Windows 11 though is interesting, and Tech Yes City has a nice video kind of going over the performance between the two in gaming, which I highly recommend you check out. And this is one of the things I've been harping on Windows, I would say, on over and over again. And I've gone to from Windows was doing a good job, I think, through the Windows 10 uh, development cycle of trying to make things at least a little bit better. Not everything perfect, but at least they were kind of putting towards stuff. And Windows 11 has been just not there. They have not continued that. They have made a mess of Windows. And we're starting to see that with some of the performance differences. There's no reason that the performance should be worse on Windows 11 than Windows 10. And if you're going to have worse performance, you have to make sure that that's addressed ASAP, Microsoft. This is not acceptable, especially when you're trying to shut down Windows 10 and make people go to an inferior product. Don't make the product inferior, make the product better, and that's going to be incentive enough for people to want to move towards it. So far that's not the case, and this is not a whole Windows bashing video. This is about the 9950X3D, 9900X3D, which there's been some reviews of that. That's a more unique processor. I'm interested to see if you're going to buy that 12 core. Let me know. I know that if you're going to do the core park and the CCDs, you kind of don't get the 9800X3D type, 8 cores there on that 3D V cache die, which is disappointing. So you're kind of sitting back there, this is kind of an in-between processor, and maybe the price will be good enough that when AMD drops it, if it doesn't sell well, which I anticipate it won't, that a whole bunch of people, I mean, I would be probably attracted to it at that point, where if you drop it to a very attractive price point, okay, I'll mess with the processor, especially if Zen 6 is going to be on the same platform. That might be the upgrade path that then I take, right? So there's these things that kind of go through my head of, where does a processor fit? Well, sometimes it's the price. I really only consider the 9800X3D if you're gaming, and that's your bracket of where you're going to spend. If you're not going to spend that, right, we look at other processors. And then you go into the, okay, I need to do productivity work and gaming. Okay, that 9950X3D is that processor that I want there as well. So, you have both, and you could even go with the 9950 just X without that for those as well if you didn't want to spend the extra money, right? These are 700, and that 16 core, I think it came down a little bit in price. I can't remember exactly what it was at, but I thought it was a little bit less than MSRP. If I recall, it's not like the 9800X3D that has been just sold out like crazy. My friend was looking for over a month, and all of a sudden he saw it on sale, picked it up. So, that's how I kind of think, is that this is going to be one of you want the best, right, of both. You want the gaming performance, and then you want the productivity performance. And with some of the changes where that 3D V cache is, right, in accordance to the die, but my brain's going a million miles an hour and the words aren't coming out, right? So where that is, right, they've changed that orientation, which allows you to keep those clocks at a good performance peak and higher than they were in last generation, so you don't get the drop off in that productivity apps that you saw with that 7950 X3D. So that is another benefit as well to this. So, if you're in the market, this is one to go there. Take a look at Tech Yes City's video between the Windows 10 and Windows 11 performance, because that is very interesting and something that Microsoft should get on. And, that's kind of my, rundown here of what I would do if I was in the market. I'm really hoping that Intel is able to come back and start putting and competing in this sector at least a little bit. They're kind of there in mobile, but the desktop arena, it's been sad to see how Intel fall from where they once were, and hopefully they can get it back. I'll have more on my weekly Tony Tech Topics. If you haven't watched that, feel free to watch that. I try to get one a week of just other topics I haven't been able to talk about, but I like to. And quick note is that Intel had a new CEO today, so that is good. I like to see a CEO for guidance, and over time we'll see how the new CEO is able to guide Intel, and hopefully it's in a better direction, return them profitability, and rebuild them into a competitive um, company versus AMD. And that's what we want. We want these, and hopefully we can have enough processors to go around, enough GPUs to go around, and everything else. We seem to be running into shortages everywhere. So with that, thank you so much for listening and watching Gray Overload. Let me know what your processor you're getting here in your build recently, or if you're just looking to be entertained, what processor you have right now and when you're looking to upgrade. I am interested in hearing that stuff too. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for supporting Gray Overload, helping this channel grow, listening, watching another one of my videos, subscribing, hitting the bell icon. All it really does help out the channel. Until next time, God bless.